So our first question to you is, what are the three strategic priorities of Johnson & Johnson's leadership at this point?
Well, our strategic priorities of leadership is first and foremost creating the value for our customers. Okay, and second is how do we come up with value proposition through innovation. And third one is that particularly in this day and age where the complexity is so high because of the fact there are markets which used to grow faster, now no longer it's growing faster, particularly in the developed countries. And how do we survive in a far more complex environment, and how do we win in this marketplace? So the whole focus of our priority is to how do we continue to deliver value to our customers, and focusing on a sustainability, which is protecting the environment, and make sure that we become a good citizen even at times of crisis. And how do we deal with a crisis without losing our sense of ethics and what we call it as the credo values.
So our next question to you would be, there are a lot of opportunities for women managers these days. However, the strategic case of women leadership has yet to be made even in the best of organizations. How do you view this in light of the fact that Johnson & Johnson is considered to be an equal opportunity employer?
See, first and foremost, I know for sure is in a country like India, these questions are very relevant. But we actually don't believe in differentiating these two. At the end of the day, whether it's men or women, we are talking about talents here. Whomsoever have those talents, I think they should get a chance to perform. They given an opportunity to perform, and they are treated with respect and dignity in what they do. And job security is given to people who work with us in line with our strategic priorities. But however, after having said that, given the context that we are in India, where women leaders are not, I would say women talent are not available in plenty, despite many women actually do very well in their colleges, schools and colleges. And due to our cultural reason, many of the talent drop out of participating in corporate world. So we do have various programs, what we call it as a WLI, Women Leadership Initiative, where we encourage our women employees to manage their work life. So there are various programs which allows them to, juggle between their work, family, with the children, and with the family ecosystem. And that is something we encourage. And we also tell people to take sabbatical. They need to take sabbatical for the family reason. And then we do give them an opportunity if they want to come back into the work stream. But however, India being what it is, there are still challenges of women, actively pursuing career, which in my opinion is good in one way, because that is the value of this country. So I don't think pass any value judgment about it's right and wrong, but women would have equal opportunity and their needs are taken care in our company through a comprehensive programs.
Absolutely, sir. Our next question to you, sir, would be, you actively mentor and train your talent. What, according to you, are two key issues in organizations and facing in terms of people development, sir?
See, one of the things typically you find with mentoring young people, particularly what we call the future talent, is the ambition, and without adequate competence actually becomes a derailer. Just because somebody is a potential does not necessarily mean that person has what it takes to take on the job the next day itself. Because competencies have to be built, capabilities have to be acquired. Now, without capabilities acquired, people wanting to push to the take up higher assignment, that's only going to set them up for failure. One of my main role as a mentor is to create awareness amongst people about, as a sounding board to them, whether have they built adequate capabilities to deal with the job that they're aspiring to be, and give them adequate opportunities to build those capabilities and competencies, and without losing their sanity, because I do know that, like many other youngsters, when I was also growing up in corporate world, I was also very restless at various point of time, and at that time there are enough mentors who guided me. Same way I do that with my people, or the people who require guidance and mentoring. Because some are emotional, some could be very as simple as a very rational, directional decisions. Just because somebody is able, but he is not willing, then you have a problem. But somebody is willing, but they are not able, then I can do some coaching. But there are people who are unable and unwilling, so you can't do much about coaching to them. So our objective is to get most of our talents to the fourth quadrant of able and willing, and that should be the objective.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, sir. How would you place Indian talent in terms of potential and performance when compared to a talent resource in other Asian countries such as Japan, China, and Singapore?
See, there's something which I know people do ask the question, are the Indian talents anyway different from? I think we should stop asking that question. Not from any other perspective. At the end of the day, talent is a talent. In today's world, it's all about global talent. Okay? Whomsoever has got the necessary competencies and capabilities, they should be the people who should be doing the job. Now, an Indian talent who are good in India need not necessarily succeed in Japan. The reason could be multiple reasons. One is the fact, cultural. There are certain capabilities that is required to succeed in those environment. We may not have, but one advantage that we have in India, probably as compared to other Asian country, which I might call that as a differentiator, I think there is a willingness amongst Indian talent to learn and adopt. So that, in my opinion, is a differentiator amongst the talents in the region. But however, I think at times I think we Indians tend to overstretch that particular adaptability and forget the fact there is something called the domain competency, which is very important. So I guess I would say there are differentiators, but also that is also very limiting. And I have seen people failing also in a other world, but also there are successful people. So I wouldn't differentiate between Asians and Indians, but I guess it is just that Indians are far more right now willing to go and work in different parts of the world as compared to Asian. Maybe that's why you see many Indians in other parts of the world are more willing to go and experiment, explore. That is an attitude, not necessarily that's because of the talent. It is because of their attitude of wanting to go and explore and work in a different culture, adaptability.
Absolutely, sir. So our final question to you from our side would be, what differentiates Johnson & Johnson as an organization from other leading companies in the industry?
I would say I would focus on what differentiates Johnson & Johnson is primarily, I think we pay a very high premium to our values, organization values, what we call it as the Credo values. Credo is a document that was developed more than 50, 60 years back, and which basically talks about the responsibility to the various stakeholders. And I think every employee in our company fervently practices what is mentioned as a responsibility to the customer, responsibility to the employees, to the society, and to the stockholders. So I think this is something, not a document as compared to probably many other organizations. in J&J, this is a living document, and that actually helps us in decision making. Whenever we are faced with, as a executive, faced with a dilemma, what we call the ethical dilemma, when our credo comes in very handy in the decision making. So we are proud that I think most of the people who work for us may be called as a little bit of conservative, but I would say that's good from a point of view of we err on the right side most of the time in terms of being responsible. Our focus on responsibility is outweighs more than business result. That's why our fourth paragraph of our document talks about stockholders. So where the first paragraph talks about a responsibility to the customers, to the employees and stockholders, to the society. So that clearly says where our priorities are. And second is that most of our decision makings are long-term in nature. And there are various decisions we forego for a short-term basis, even if the short-term business results come. But if it's going to compromise our long-term interest, we don't take those decisions. So these are the stuff which has helped us to be in this world over 125 years. So we'll continue to be there for the next 200 and 300 years.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you once again for coming in.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.